comment, and subscribe. Like, now. Look at my hands, they're so dirty from this. Ah, that's crazy. But anyways, like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna wait. We're gonna fix our hair and get super grabby. Like, see the bow. Like, comment, and subscribe. Now, okay, now that we got that over. Hey y'all, it's your girl Dawn. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, like, comment, and subscribe to my page. You feel me? And that's on who? And that's on what? And that's where we go. Where we go to buy it, pretty. What are you talking about? Anyways, y'all know I'm from Brooklyn, right? Now let me stop. Anyways, if you like this look, and you wanna know how I got it, it's falling apart now.
Really, nigga?
Alright, before I even get into the video, you guys, I know that I've been away for a little while. You know, I started my channel, I only made one video, and then I'll go away for another 2 years, and I'll come back and make one video, then I'll go away for another 2 years, or whatever. But I'm back to stay, guys. I'm really back to stay, and I'm gonna be consistent. And I'm gonna get busy. You feel me? It's gonna be me and it's gonna be you. And we're gonna be at Fun Beauty do what we do. Hey. Oh! And then subscribe because we're about to get busy. And that's on paid. So just look, you wanna know how I did it, what I did to get it. You feel me? I'm trying to mess my hair up a little bit more. I want it to look like, bitch, you just got fucked up. But, yeah. If you like this look, you wanna know how I got it? Now. Okay, now that we got that over, we're gonna go and get into the look, and that's on period. She's my son because he's getting mad crazy with these toys, and I don't know why. I really don't. Excuse me, you're making too much noise. Go sit on your bed, please. Yeah, because, like, I don't understand why he thought it was okay for him to be mad loud and stuff while I'm doing my video. I gotta stop, girl. Let's get into the video.
Hey guys, welcome back. So first I'm gonna take a clean paper towel. I'm gonna fold it in half, or you can rip it in half, however you guys prefer. Then I'm gonna take some sea breeze. I'm gonna clean my skin, make sure it's clean before we start, and I'm gonna take some Blistex and I'm gonna moisturize my lips before we start. Next, I'm gonna map out where I want my mouth to be. Originally, I was gonna do a mask, so that's why I started so far back, but it still worked out. So, how you wanna do is you wanna put the glue. You wanna put the glue where you want the mouth to be, but you want the glue to be on the outside, holding the tissue. And the inside you want to be dry, so later on when we cut it. So now I'm gonna take the school glue, the Elmer's school glue. Is safe, non-toxic, so it's good for your skin. And I'm just gonna use just a 99-cent store pack of brushes, paint brushes, and I'm just gonna keep mapping out where I wanted the mouth to be. So originally I was using my hands, but because I'm ripping the tissue and using my hands, the tissue was sticking. So I decided to use the paintbrush just to get an easier application and make it easier on myself and less mess. So guys, just like I said before, I'm just going back and forth between the tissue paper and the glue. I'm using small pieces of tissue paper at a time because I didn't want to put too much and I didn't want to go too big. And then last minute I decided that I wanted a little cut on my forehead, so I just did the same process. I just ripped a little piece of tissue paper and I just went back and forth between the glue and the tissue paper until I was happy, pretty much.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
So now I'm just lightly filling in my eyebrows. I really just fill in the tip and just lightly feather in my eyebrows. I'm using a regular beauty supply store eyebrow pencil. Nothing really spectacular. I didn't really go too hard on my eyebrows. And I'm just gonna do that and I'll be back in a sec.
Really close. Like right here. Right here.
Oh, now that's cute.
So now I'm just gonna clean up my eyebrows with some LA Girl Pro Concealer. And just a random like flat brush that I had. I'm just stretching my eyebrow out as I go because that's just gonna help me get a straighter line and clean up all of those imperfections underneath that I want to hide with the LA Girl Pro Concealer. So I'm just gonna blend that out and I'm just gonna go over the top and clean up that top line as well with the same color because I'm gonna cover it all, so it doesn't really matter too much. Then I'm gonna go in with another LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color Light Ivory. I just use any like lighter color. At first I used some random concealer I had, but I didn't really like it, and then I went back over it with the Light Ivory just to make it just a little bit brighter because I wanted to go in with a bright color just to make it a little bit easier. And I just tapped that in with my finger, and then I went in with my beauty blender to blend that all together. So then I'm going to take my Sacha Buttercup and I'm just going to pat that on my eyelids to set that concealer. And also to just brighten it a little bit more. So it doesn't move, it stays still, it's not going nowhere. Next, I'm just going to take my foundation and I'm just going to blend that in. So I used the Fit Me Matte and Poreless in the color 360 and I took that around the edges with my foundation brush. So we're just gonna continue to blend. So we're gonna continue to blend our foundation in. We're gonna blend our forehead, blend around all the tissue paper just to cover all of those white spots, or as much as we can with the foundation. Next, I just took my NYX contour palette and I just took that dark brown and a little bit of that black and I just mixed it together and I just used that to darken the spots that I needed to, that was still showing white. And I noticed that some spots were coming up, so I just took some more glue and I went around the edges, and this is just gonna help make it look more realistic. And I also just use my finger to help smooth some of that glue in with the foundation. And while I was gluing it down, again, I was just manipulating it how I wanted it to, so that I didn't have to do it again and mess with the glue. It can just stay how I want it to stay. I'm also going to start cutting the mouth. So I'm just going to cut through the middle. You want to like cut in like a jagged way so that it doesn't look so blunt. So I was just cutting, and I was also using the scissors to help me be able to rip it, because after a while I didn't really like how blunt the scissors was giving me, so I started using my fingers to just help rip it, and I was using the scissors to help. I'm just gonna use this, also just like rip the extra pieces that we really don't need in that extra tissue paper. And because it's hardened, this is what's gonna help hold the thread when we start to sew. So like I was saying, I was just gonna use my fingers to start ripping it because I didn't like how blunt the scissors was giving me. I didn't want it to be completely ripped apart. So next I'm gonna take my Morphe palette, and I'm just gonna take that brown and that black, and I'm gonna mix those two, and I'm just gonna go over those edges again to darken and just create that contour that would naturally be there, and just to darken these wounds and make them look more realistic. So if you notice, guys, I'm really using a heavy hand with that Morphe brown and that black. I'm really going a little heavy-handed with it because I really want to get into those white spots on the tissue that I couldn't get in with the foundation. I wanted to make it darker, and I wanted to look more gross and disgusting. So I don't care if it cakes up, because that's just going to make it look more realistic, especially when we're going in with the glue. So I'm just gonna actually make sure I get inside so we can create a base for the inside. So while I was inside, I noticed it wasn't really working, so I realized that I did have face paint that I bought a while ago that I got from Amazon, and I just took that red and that brown and I mixed it together, and I just put that on the inside. I figured that the face paint would make it easier to cover the white spots, and it did. It made it 100 times easier. And I just used that brown and that red, and I just blended that over all the white spots. And I also used my fingers to like rip apart some of the tissue paper to create layers and make it look more realistic as well. And I also ripped some of the tissue paper away. It's okay to rip some of it away because I felt like it was too much tissue paper, that it was making it look fake. So you don't want to use too less, and you don't want to use too much. So I'm just going to continue to do that, and I'll be back with you guys in a second. So I also decided that I wanted to rip some of the tissue paper off of the top to also create a more realistic feel, so I can get some of that paint in there and make that also look more realistic. And I just put that all over. Being that it's a cut, you know, usually cuts, a lot of blood come out of it. And I just used some more of that glue, and I just went back over the edges just to create more texture and make everything look more realistic. We're going for a realistic. We want this to look like this is our skin. Like, this is our skin, honey. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take a lip applicator brush. I'm just gonna use that to apply some more glue around the edges. I'm also gonna take a different lip applicator brush, and I'm gonna use that to apply the face paint into the scars, just to give it more definition, to make it look more realistic and stand out. So to give my scars a little more definition, I just use the black face paint in the palette, and I also use the brown and the red, and I just mix those three colors as I went along. After I finished the face paint and the scar, I just decided that I wanted to get the stitch out the way, so I just found any random needle and thread. I used a weave needle, a curved C needle, and just some regular weave thread, some brown weave thread that I had laying around the house. And I just stitched that from top to bottom, and then back from bottom to top. So I started from the top, stitched at the bottom, and I made it back to the top. So how I tried to get the needle in there is I tried to put the needle through the driest parts and the hardest parts that were already dried up by the glue, so that it can have the best hold. And you want to pull it tight, but not too tight, because you don't want to pull anything out of place. You don't want to pull it off your face to make it too tight. You want it tight, but not too tight, because you still want that skin to kind of show underneath, so that it could look like intestines when you add in the blood and everything else to give it more definition. So to finish up the closing, I just stitched all the way to the end, and when I got to the end, I just relapped and went right back to as far as the thread could go. And once I got to the end of the thread, I was trying to figure out whether or not I wanted to leave the needle in, but I decided not, because I just didn't want any accidents to happen. I didn't want myself to get hurt or anyone else to get hurt. So I just lapped that as far as I could go, and I just simply just cut it with a pair of scissors, any scissors really. So next, I'm just gonna go in with some blood, and I'm just gonna put that blood right on those exit wounds of the thread, just to give more definition and to make it look more realistic. So this is the gel blood, so this is gonna give that crusted blood feeling. Guys, excuse my background, that's my son screaming, playing with his toys. But yeah, I'm just adding in that blood And I'm just gonna clip that extra little thread that I had forgot when I first started the stitch. So I decided that that was definitely not enough blood, and I just started adding blood everywhere. I started adding more blood into my cut at the top, and I also added more blood into my stitch at the bottom. Then next, I started to go in and give myself some eyeshadow. So I'm gonna take that orange and that Morphe palette, and I'm just gonna put that right in my crease, and I'm just gonna blend that. I'm gonna do that the same to both eyes. I'm just gonna put that in my crease, and I'm gonna build that color up until I'm satisfied. So once I'm satisfied with that orange, I'm just going to go back in and I'm going to add some brown right into that crease underneath that orange. And then I'm going to blend that out with that orange. So I'm going to apply the brown, and then I'm going to blend the brown out with the orange. Then next, I'm going to take that shimmery gold in the palette, and I'm just going to apply that to my lid. At first, I was using my fingers, but then I decided that I wanted to go back in and just use a flat brush. I wasn't creating a cut crease. I just wanted some type of shimmer or something to make my eyes stand out on my lid. Also, I'm going to go back in with that brown and just redefine that crease a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. And I'm going to use that orange just to re-blend out that brown, because I feel like the gold took away some of the brown. Then I'm going to go in after and just add a little bit more gold, just in case the brown take away any of the gold. After that, I'm just going to go underneath my eyebrows, and I'm gonna highlight with my Julia's Place highlighter. I'm gonna put only a little bit because the stuff is really pigmented. So I'm just gonna put a little bit, and I'm gonna blend that in underneath my eyebrows. I'm just gonna try to blend that in with that orange so everything is blended and smooth together. As you can see, the stuff is really, really pigmented. Also, I had forgot to highlight my nose, so I'm just going back in and highlighting my nose, and I'm going to use my Real Technique Beauty Blender sponge, and I'm just going to blend that in all together lightly. Then I'm just going to contour my nose with my contour brush. I'm just going to lightly contour it at first, just to add some definition and to blend everything back together. Then I'm gonna go and add some of that Julia's Place highlighter. I'm gonna pop some right there on the tip of my nose, and I'm gonna add some right there on the bridge of my nose. Not too much because this stuff is really pigmented, like I mentioned, and it can get a little bit crazy. Also gonna add a little highlighter on the high peaks of my face where it normally would shine. Then I went back in a little bit more with that orange just to blend that together with that highlighter. And I'm also going to go back underneath my eyes with some more concealer just to brighten that up just a little bit, and I'm gonna use my Real Technique sponge to blend that in. Next, I'm just gonna add my lashes in. I'm gonna size them and make sure that they fit my face. These lashes were actually way too long. I don't remember what style these lashes was or where I got them from, because I got them a while ago. But I'm just gonna take some weave glue. So I use weave glue to apply my lashes. I don't actually like lash glue, so I'm just gonna take some weave glue. I'm gonna let that dry and then I'm gonna apply it. I also cut them, so I just cut a little bit off the ends that I felt that was too long, and then I use a tweezer to just clamp my eyelashes and mix them with the false eyelashes. Then I'm gonna take that Julia's Place highlighter and I'm just gonna pop that right there in the corner to give me a little bit more highlighter. And I'm also gonna add the MAC highlighter in the color Gold Deposit just to go over that Julia's Place highlighter and bring it back to more golden. Then I'm just gonna take some Maybelline mascara and I'm gonna coat my bottom lashes as well as coat my top lashes that I didn't coat before I added the lashes, just so everything can blend together and mix properly. So I use two different types of Maybelline mascara. I really like this mascara because it's really black and it really makes your eyelashes pop. As you can see, I made a mistake and I messed up and I got some on my nose. But I'm just gonna continue to apply my mascara until I'm satisfied. To clean that mascara off, I'm just going to take a clean paper towel. I'm also going to finish setting underneath my eyes with that Sacha Buttercup. I'm going to contour my nose just a little bit more. And I'm going to add some more blood. And I'm all done. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.